Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hailey Bennett, and I am a staff engineer at Intelligent Concrete, where we specialize in making concrete do the impossible. Now, today I am continuing to bring you along with my LEED Green Associate journey. If you haven't watched the previous videos, go check those out. Essentially, I am in the process of studying for and scheduling my LEED Green Associate exam. I'm a civil engineer, and I would love to be more well versed in green building, as well as be able to implement some of these green building strategies for concrete and concrete construction. So it's really exciting. I am very passionate about sustainability, so I love learning about as much as I can. So first of all, I'd like to give you a little quote by the National Park Service. So they describe traditional development as a method that reflects the views that Earth's resources are for human use. On the other hand, sustainable development accentuates the indigenous natural and cultural assets while respecting resource constraints. So, if at all possible, we should be choosing sites and locations that reflect sustainable development rather than traditional building. So location and site selection actually has a huge impact on the project itself and its impact on the environment. So location takes lots of things into account. It takes into account climate of the location. It takes into account connection to nearby areas or resources. It takes into account so many things that you might not initially think of when you think location. So the LEED handbook that I have been studying off of actually has quite a few ways to enhance your site selection and location and ensure that where you're putting your project is going to be the most responsible and sustainable option. So the first way that you can ensure you are selecting a good site is to use the term smart growth, or the theory smart growth, and that's essentially trying to reduce urban sprawl. Urban sprawl is when the city just keeps getting bigger and bigger, so then the suburbs become part of the city, and then they have to build more suburbs on the outside, and it just keeps growing, and pretty soon we have so much concrete, which, don't get me wrong, I love concrete, but I think that this topic is really just pushing the smart and environmentally sensitive approach to this, because concrete is not good for, most concrete is not good for irrigation or rainwater runoff. It's also not good because it exacerbates the urban heat island effect. So it raises the temperatures in the city. There are so many reasons that keeping a smaller footprint for your building or your location is really important and will help you create a more sustainable project. Another one is to protect the habitat, and that's really, in short, it's to reuse existing sites. So rather than building on green fields, places that farms can pop up or animals can have their natural habitat, instead of building on those sites, choose either existing sites or remediate a site. So speaking of remediation, there are things called brownfields, and they're actually sites that are contaminated with waste or pollution. A lot of times it's hazardous, and companies can go in and remediate those sites, build on them, and earn lots of LEED credit, as well as really just cleaning up the environment, because industry did this. The issue with brownfields are that most of the time it's industry that caused that contamination and degradation to the environment. Another way that you can be sure to choose smart or sustainable sites or locations is to build in dense areas. And that might not be so intuitive, but what that does is it allows, or it reduces the need for single trips. So rather than going to the grocery store and going home, I can go to the grocery store. Right next door to the grocery store is my dentist. Right next door to that is the chiropractor. I can wipe out all my chores in one place. And so it reduces the need for me to drive around the whole town and spend a lot of gas and cause a lot of emissions. So that's one way. And really diversifying the areas and the amenities or resources that are in each area is important, because if we have 12 women's clothing stores in a strip mall, then that is the only use. People will likely make one trip to there and back home, because it's all kind of the same purpose, rather than being able to bike, walk, or drive somewhere. Let's say a shopping mall, and you can eat, you can go to the movies, you can get some clothes. There's many uses, which really reduces the carbon emissions and greenhouse gas emissions that driving a vehicle often and for single uses produces. And then lastly, to ensure that your site is going to be sustainable, it is a great idea to make sure that it's walkable or is close to public transit. Not only do some people not have cars or have the ability to drive or have access to a car, so it's making your project more accessible to the general public, but also it's encouraging to people to maybe take the bus or take the train or take this mass transit, because that really also lowers greenhouse gas emissions, global warming, and carbon emissions. So thank you all so much for watching. The next video will be about transportation and reducing the need for as much parking. So I can't wait to talk to you then. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ding that bell for notifications. Go concrete, beat asphalt.